Hey everybody, welcome to the channel this week. Today is going to be episode number 5 of Church Chat. So today we're going to be talking about transmissions and whether or not you need a built transmission, will the current power level that you're making or what your power goals, depending on what you're making, will your transmission handle it? So we're going to be talking about that. Also, we got some pretty awesome news from Dodge this week, so I want to share that with you as well. So welcome to Church Chat. Let's get started.
And now it's time for Church Chat.
All right, everybody, welcome to Church Chat. First off, I want to start out with some pretty exciting news. This week we were contacted by FCA Dodge, and they asked us to be part of their Media Day event. So what we're going to be doing is it's going to be the second wave. This is going to be for mostly social media type stuff, YouTube, Instagram, whatnot. So we are going to be flying out to Portland, Maine, where we're going to be having a reception. Then we're going to drive from there up to New Hampshire to Club Motorsports, where we are going to get an opportunity to drive the all-new 2019 Dodge Challenger lineup. That's going to include the new Scat Pack wide body, the new Hellcat in wide body, and real exciting news, that also is going to include the 2019 Challenger Hellcat Red Eye. So needless to say, we are pretty excited. So I am super pumped to bring you some footage and all the information that we're going to gather there. Super excited to get that put together for you, and kind of fanboying a little bit here. But we're going to treat this seriously, and we're going to bring you some awesome content there. So big shout out to Dodge. Thank you so much. We hope to be a part of many events coming up in the future. All right, so this week on Church Chat, we are going to be talking about transmissions. For example, we're going to talk about Hellcat and Demon transmissions. But this also applies to any of the 8 HP 90 series and 95 series transmissions. So the Hellcat and the Demon both have the 8 HP 90, which is from ZF. Now, those transmissions, lots of people have been modifying their engines, and those transmissions have been just fine. But the only main differences between those versus the 8 HP 95 is the 8 HP 95 is found in the Trackhawk. Now, I've never had one of these transmissions apart, so I'm not sure exactly what the technical difference is, but I do know that although the horsepower and torque loads are going to be the same versus Hellcat and Trackhawk, but the way the power is distributed to the front and rear wheels on the Trackhawk required that things were beefed up a little bit. So the differences on the Trackhawk, we won't get too far into it, but it wasn't just a Grand Cherokee that they stuffed a Hellcat motor into. Everything was beefed up, from the transmission, the drive lines, transfer case, front and rear differential, axles, everything's beefed up. So the 8 HP 90, that's going to be found in your 2015 and up Dodge Challenger Hellcat and Charger Hellcat. The same transmission pretty much is in the Demon as well. It's still classified as the 8 HP 90. The main differences with the Demon are going to be found in your torque converter and of course the different software for the tuning of the transmission. So that's really the only main differences that you're going to see between the Hellcat and the Demon, is mainly software. There might be a component or two that I'm not aware of. I haven't actually got one of these apart yet. But the question is, will the power level that you are making, do you need to upgrade your transmission? Okay, so that could be answered in many different ways. First off, I'm going to say no. Okay, pretty much whatever power you can throw at these things, I believe that they'll hold it just fine. The trick is all in the tuning of it. So when you say, well, how do you tune a transmission? The transmission is a mechanical part. How can that be tuned? Well, it does have a transmission control module, and there is programming for that. So what it actually is, it's called torque management. Now, torque management, I won't get too technical with it because I'm never tuned a transmission on this car. All I know is just from the information that I've gathered from personal experience. But transmission tuning, torque management, it also allows you to adjust your fluid pressures in each gear. Now, increase in fluid pressure is going to increase your clamp load, and that clamp load is going to essentially hold whatever torque you're thrown at it. So if you're making more horsepower and more torque, you are going to need some additional clamp load. So one of the worst things that a tuner can do is that if they're not experienced with this, they do not add anything to torque management. They either, one, they leave it alone and you burn up the transmission because now that additional torque load, there's no additional clamp, or they turn off torque management altogether because they're just naive or they're unsure. But I think enough time has gone on now that pretty much those days of people burning up transmission, I'm hoping those are over with. I'm hoping the information has gotten out there that you don't mess with torque management. You want to leave that alone. If you don't know what you're doing, don't get into tuning Hellcats, Trackhawks, Demons. Leave them alone, turn around and walk away. We need people that are qualified and that know what they're doing. So shout out to everybody that's doing a great job. So you modified your Hellcat, your Trackhawk, your Demon. You're gonna need some additional clamp for each gear. So you want to definitely increase your line pressure in each of those gears. Now, the different HP tuners, Diablo, all those different software tuning companies, they all have transmission tuning now. So you can actually go in there and you can modify that, as well as other parameters. So, do you need a built transmission? Well, my first point that I want to make is if for some reason your transmission has failed, let's say you had it tuned properly, torque management was modified, you had that additional line pressure, you're holding the power, but that prolonged use of the transmission, even at whatever power level you're at, let's just say it prematurely wears things out, or just by natural time and the horsepower you're making, it wears the transmission out. So that's going to be the first thing. Do you need a built transmission? Well, do you need a transmission? So if you need a transmission, why not go ahead and just take the thing out, send it over to a qualified transmission builder and have them build it. There's several different companies. One I want to mention in particular is Paramount Transmissions, because that's who I used. I do know there's other qualified people out there. I just don't have any personal experience with them. But Bill Scher over there, they have done some little tricks to not only the transmission, to adding, I believe, additional plates and clutch disc, but also modifying the torque converter as well. So he definitely has lots of experience when it comes to the NAG transmission, the 8HP70. Definitely check that guy out if you need any transmission build. So you've burned up your transmission, so yeah, why spend the money on a new or used transmission when it's pretty cost effective to remove yours, send it out and have it built. Now, I say cost effective, there are many hard parts within the transmission that they do not sell. ZF, Dodge, FCA, Mercedes-Benz, all the people that use the ZF line, those parts are not available. So if you burned up a hard part, it's going to be expensive no matter what you do. Whether you have to get a new transmission or you have to buy hard parts to rebuild yours, the only way you're going to get those hard parts is from a good quality core. Either that core is still a good transmission, or that core is one that's just burned up clutch packs and the builder has a good quality core for you to use. So that's going to definitely increase the bill that you pay at the end if you have to have hard parts from a known good core. But guys, if you feel something going on funny with your transmission, you know your car. You're driving it, you feel the way that it shifts, you know your car pretty well. And if you feel anything out of the ordinary, don't risk it. Take your foot out of it. Leave it be. Get somebody to take a look. Take a fluid sample. If you're feeling anything wrong with your transmission whatsoever in the way that it shifts or how it feels, stop everything and get it checked out. I noticed the first day my transmission started acting funny, I started babying it. Now, I didn't pull a fluid sample until the next day, but I did not do any full power pulls after I felt that first hiccup in the transmission. Babied it. I had no other choice but to drive it to where I was going. Then the next day I had to drive it back to work. Now, I thought, well, maybe it's all in my head, but I still was babying it nonetheless. So on my way home, just driving normally, going home, check engine light comes on, then within 30 seconds it wouldn't shift. So I had to pull over, put the car in park, restart the car, then it would drive fine again. Then a few minutes later, again, wouldn't shift. So I was able to baby it and get it back. We took a fluid sample, and of course the fluid was smoked. It was burnt up. Lots of clutch material within there. Dropped the pan down. There was a lot of debris in it. So definitely, if I hadn't have been cognizant of what was going on with my transmission and I would have just kept on dogging it, then I could have definitely burned up hard parts. So definitely, guys, if you're feeling anything funny, just get out of it, get a qualified person to take a look at it. These transmissions don't have a dipstick, they have a plug on the side. That's how you fill, that's how you check level. And of course, I recommend taking a fluid sample from there, because if you do it from the bottom, it might, if you can't get it back in there, it might get messy. Let's say your transmission is fine and you pull that plug out, you just drained however many quarts of $30+ a quart fluid. So you need a transmission. Yours is smoked. Do I need a built one? Well, if you need, like I said, if you need one, then of course. If you're just if you are doing a full-on, no holds barred, you have all the budget in the world, you're pulling your motor out because you're doing a 426 fully built motor, pistons, rods, crank, and your transmission's sitting there laying on the ground. You got all this money that you're spending on the engine. When the trans is already out, go ahead and send it to a qualified builder like Paramount and have them build it for you, so that the transmission can match the level in which you've built your motor. So really, those are the two things that I ask. Do you need a built transmission? Well, the first is going to be, is my transmission smoked? And the second one is going to be, well, I already have it out because I'm doing a 1,400 horsepower build. So yeah, go ahead and just get it built. I mean, obviously, if you're spending that kind of money on the motor, what's another, $5 to $7 grand on building the trans, and you already have it out, so you're not having to pay labor twice. So in summary, yes, your transmission will hold the power as long as it's tuned properly. And second, do you need a built transmission? I've already answered all that in depth, so I hope that answers any questions that you might have. Definitely, if you have any, leave a comment below. We're going to touch a little bit on, in a later episode, transmission fluid, because that fluid is so expensive. Can you run ATF? Will it smoke the transmission if you do it? So we're going to combine that into another topic down the road, so definitely stay tuned for that. So anyhow, this is Billy from DFW Speed. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes when we get to go drive the all-new 2019 Challenger lineup. So definitely excited to do that. All right, guys, you have a good one. Later.
I have exorcised the demons. This house is clear.
I put the team on my back. I do it all for the family. Everyone think they can rap. Nobody ever gon' challenge me. Starting my week on a Sunday. They think they can make it in one day. I just been ready to take off. Waiting my turn on the runway. Never be turning around. Never be turning around. Ayy. Never be slowing it down. Never be slowing it down.